of you? Are you there? Can you hear me?
This is sound or
Okay. Answer your attendance, Afla.
present miss.
Ajmina.
Present, Miss.
Amaya.
Present, Miss.
Atulya. Drishya. Jyotish. Karthik.
Present, Miss.
Kavya.
Present, Miss.
Nachiketas.
Present, Miss.
Neeraj. Rangeet.
Present, Miss.
Vaishnav.
Present, Miss.
Vaishnav.
Present, Miss.
Anjali.
Present, Miss.
Shruti.
Present, Miss.
Anjali and the assignment upload yanye. Neeraj and Anjali, you have to upload your 5th assignment by today itself, okay? Jyotish nanda pani koraville.
Miss Indida.
Okay, in the last class, what we were discussing is about the Can you see the slides?
No.
Yes or no?
No, Miss.
No.
കാണാമോ ഇല്ലയോ?
ഇല്ലില്ല, no.
No. Now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So last class we were just discussing about the physical layer. We started with module 2 revision and we were dealing with the physical layer concepts. And the things what we have seen is about the transmission medium. Now, what are the different types of transmission medium used in data communication system? Who will be answering? Shruti. What are the different types of transmission medium used in data communication system?
Guided medium and unguided medium.
Guided medium and unguided medium. Now, what are the different types of guided medium?
Twisted pair, coaxial cable, and fiber optic cable.
Twisted pair, coaxial cable, and fiber optic cables. Now, what are the merits of twisted pair cable? Who will be answering? Vaishnav. What are the merits as well as the demerits of twisted pair cable? Vaishnav undo?
Hi, sir.
Yeah, tell. Twisted pair nath endakkeya padiche? What are the things that you have gone through the twisted pair cable?
Twisted pair രണ്ട് കണ്ടക്ടർ ഉണ്ടാവും.
Okay. What it is made up of?
പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് ഇൻസുലേഷൻ്റെ അതിൽ കോപ്പറിനെ കൊണ്ടാണ് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് മേടിയിട്ടുള്ളത്.
Okay, then
പിന്നെ ഒരു പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്
then
ഇൻസുലേഷൻ
try to
ഉണ്ടാവും,
speak
പിന്നെ
in
ട്വിസ്റ്റഡ്
English.
ടുഗദർ ആയിരിക്കും.
Frame a sentence and tell. നിങ്ങൾ മലയാളത്തിലാണോ പരീക്ഷ എഴുതുന്നത്?
Twisted pair consists of two conductors,
Okay.
each with its own plastic insulation twisted together.
Now, what is the importance of twisting?
Magnetic ലോസ് കുറക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി.
Minimize the electromagnetic interference. Interference കുറയ്ക്കാനല്ലേ?
ഇന്റർഫറൻസ് കുറക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി. ഇന്റർഫറൻസ് കുറക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്.
Then പിന്നെന്താ പഠിച്ചേ? What are the two categories of twisted pair cable? ഏതൊക്കെ ടൈപ്സ്
STP
ഉള്ളത്?
and UTP, shielded twisted pair cable, unshielded twisted pair cable,
What are the
STP and UTP.
importance of unshielded twisted pair cable? What are the importance of unshielded twisted pair cable? What are its advantages? What are its disadvantages? Where it is used? What are its applications?
Used telephones ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്.
Okay, then mainly what are its advantage? Cost wise, if it is costly or cheap? And you are comparing with STP cables. UTP cables are cheap or costly? പറഞ്ഞേ, വേഗം
UTP
പറഞ്ഞേ.
costly അല്ല.
It is
Costly അല്ല.
not of much
STP ആണ്
cost.
costly വരിക.
Okay, then
STP costly.
yeah, okay. Whether you can install it easily or it is difficult.
Install ചെയ്യാൻ difficult.
Difficult no, flexible ആണ്. It is easy to install UTP
Ah,
cables.
easy.
Okay, then what are the different categories of this UTP cable? എന്തിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് കാറ്റഗറീസ് നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചത്? എത്ര കാറ്റഗറീസ് ഉണ്ട്, അത് ഏതിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് പറയുന്നത്? പറഞ്ഞേ, വേഗം പറഞ്ഞേ.
Categories RJ45.
എത്ര കാറ്റഗറീസ് ഉണ്ട്?
categories അല്ലേ? 5
categories. All these are based on the cable quality. Cable quality base ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഓരോന്നും categorize ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Okay. That you have to just write it. What are the different types of categories in this UTP cable? Now, what is the common UTP connector called?
RJ45.
RJ45. You have a male connector as well as a female connector, right? Now, what are the important applications of this UTP cables? വൈഷ്ണവ് പറഞ്ഞു ടെലിഫോൺസ് ലൈൻസിൽ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയാ? In order to provide data and voice channels, right? പിന്നെ എവിടെയൊക്കെ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട് UTP cables? Mainly it is used for LAN networks. LAN networks ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. That is 10 base T, 100 base T and Ethernet networks ന് വേണ്ടി you are making use of this. And also DSL lines also make use of this UTP cables, right? Okay, that was about UTP. Now who will be telling about Vaishna? What is the importance of this STP cables? Vaishna undo? Vaishna? Tell. What are the things you have studied in shielded twisted pair cable? എന്താ അതിന്റെ പ്രത്യേകത when you are comparing with this UTP cable? പറഞ്ഞേ, വേഗം പറഞ്ഞേ, സമയമില്ല.
Five categories.
5 categories ഉണ്ടോ shielded twisted pairന്? I'm asking about STP. UTP,
Metal foil cover.
you have a metal foil or a braided mesh covering. എന്തിനു വേണ്ടിയാ അതുള്ളത്? What is the importance of that metal foil or braided?
Protect the cable.
You want to prevent the interference. So for that, you are making use of a metal foil or a braided mesh. Now, when you are comparing with this UTP cable, STP cables are little bit expensive and also they are bulky, right? Okay, what is the other type of guided media? Secondly, എന്താ പഠിച്ചേ? Twisted pair കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് what we have learned? What is the other type of guided media?
Coaxial.
Coaxial cable. Okay, now what are the importance of coaxial cable? പറഞ്ഞേ, അതിന്റെ കൺസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ എങ്ങനെയാ വരുന്നതെന്നുള്ളത് പറഞ്ഞേ വേഗം.
carry high frequency signal.
നോക്കി പറയുവാന്നോ? Okay, tell. Anyway, when next by December 2nd, last week, we will be meeting each other. So that time I'll make you to write all these questions, what we are discussed, this revision classes, as well as what we are going to discuss also. Okay. Tell.
Center
Coaxial cable.
conductor.
Yeah, you have a central core conductor. Then
Core covered by insulator.
you have an insulator. Okay. Then after that, you have a outer conductor.
Covered by outer conductor.
Yeah, outer conductor of metal foil or braided or a combination of that. Now, what is the importance of this outer conductor? എന്തായിട്ടാ അത് ആക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? What is the importance of that outer conductor in a coaxial cable?
Shield against noise.
It is acting as a shield. Okay. Now the whole cable, it is protected by a plastic covering, right? Now what are the different categories of this coaxial cable? What are the different categories of this coaxial cable? എന്തിനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാ അത് നമ്മൾ കാറ്റഗറൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? പറഞ്ഞേ, വേഗം പറഞ്ഞേ. You don't have much time. Okay, who is the next person? Anjali. Anjali ഉണ്ടോ? Tell. What are the categories of coaxial cable? എങ്ങനെയാ നമ്മൾ കാറ്റഗറൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? On what basis? ആരാ അത് സ്പെസിഫൈ ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
coaxial cable ഒരു മിനിറ്റ്
നോക്കാൻ പോയതാണോ?
അല്ല മിസ്.
Make it fast. Okay, she is not answering. So the radio government, it is based on the
RG5958.
Okay, you have different categories, RG59, etc. And all these are based upon the type of the insulator, thickness, all these type of the outer casing size, അതിനെല്ലാം ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് ക്ലാസിഫൈ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. Okay, now what are the advantages of the third type of, what is the third type of transmission media you have gone through? What is the third type of transmission, guided transmission media? Nachiketas.
Fiber optic cable.
Fiber optic cable. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages of fiber optic cable? പറഞ്ഞേ, ഒന്ന് രണ്ടെണ്ണം പറഞ്ഞേ.
Higher bandwidth.
Okay. Then.
Less signal attenuation.
Okay.
Lightweight.
Okay.
Electrical isolation.
What about the security of this fiber optic cable? When you are comparing with other cables, is it more secure or not? They are more secure than the other cables, right? Okay. Now, Rangeet, what are the disadvantages of fiber optic cable? What are the disadvantages of fiber optic cable? പറഞ്ഞേ, എന്തായിരിക്കും ഇനീഷ്യൽ ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ്?
More cost.
Initial cost, setting up cost will be very, very high. And also, what is the second disadvantage?
Fragility.
Maintenance, repairing.
Installation, maintenance required.
It is difficult to overcome that, repair that, and it is also expensive, right? So These were the some of the things. And unguided media, you should be able to write it, the unguided transmission media also. Okay, so we were discussing about the physical layer in the last class. Now today we will be just seeing about the second layer of the OSI model or the TCP/IP model, that is called it as the, which is the second layer of the OSI model or the TCP model. പറഞ്ഞേ.
Data link.
Okay, about data link layer and important functions. So the function and what we are going to see in today's class. So all of you please listen here. I have told you data link layer, you can just divide, or you can have mainly two important functions of this data link layer. One is called it as the data link control, and another one is the medium access control. അതായത് ഡേറ്റ ലിങ്ക് ലെയറിനെ രണ്ടായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ സ്പ്ലിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. മെയിൻലി ഇറ്റ് ഈസ്, യു ക്യാൻ കോൾ ഇറ്റ് ആസ് ദി ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ഓൾസോ. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ദ ഡേറ്റ ലിങ്ക് കൺട്രോൾ ആൻഡ് അനദർ വൺ ഈസ് ദി മീഡിയം ആക്സസ് കൺട്രോൾ. Now, data link control. Now, what is actually? It is dealing with the design and procedure for communication between nodes. What are the designs? What are the procedures you have to undergo when you want to communicate, or when communication happens between two nodes? So the data link control is dealing with that function, right? Now the second type is called it as the medium access control. Medium access control means it is responsible for resolving access to the shared media. You will be having a media, that medium will be shared, you will be having many devices connected to that medium, and who is responsible, who is having the access to the medium at a particular time? അതെല്ലാം തീരുമാനിക്കുന്നത് resolving the access to the shared medium, that is done by the MAC layer. Okay, so data link layer, generally you can have two main functions. One is called it as the data link control and another one is the MAC control. ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം ചോദിച്ചിരുന്നു 4 മാർക്കിന്. Now data link layer എന്താന്നുള്ളത് എഴുതുക. So when a question is asked like that, what are the important functions of data link layer? So you have to just write it. Data link layer is acting as the second layer of the OSI or the TCP model. Its main function is, എന്താ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള നമ്മൾ അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഡേറ്റയെ നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത്, ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് കോൾഡ് ഇറ്റ് ആസ് ഫ്രെയിംസ്. Now the two main functions is data link control and the medium access control. Now you have to define what is data link control and what is medium access control. Right? Now, this data link control functions, again, you can categorize into three things. One is called it as the framing. The other one is called it as the flow control mechanism. And third one is the error control mechanism. I repeat, data link control functions include, the first function is framing. Second function is flow control. Third function is error control. Now today we will just see what is it, what framing means. About എന്താന്നുള്ളത്, in you are when you are considering the data link layer, your data, it will be packed into frames. You want to distinguish one frame to the other. The whole message actually, it could be packed in one frame, but that is not usually done. You are splitting up into many data units, and each unit you are making it as, you are calling it as a frame, right? And this frame, actually, the data link layer, actually, what is its function is, you have studied in your physical layer that you want to transfer the bits in the form of signal. That is, from the data link layer, you will be getting the data and you want to transmit in the form of a signal. Okay, so data link layer, what you're doing is, the bits are packed into frames. Now each frame is separate from the other frame, right? Okay, so this is just a similar example of a postal system. What is the importance of postal system? It is actually a type of framing. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പറയാം, ഒരു postal system എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, what you are doing is, നിങ്ങൾ letter എഴുതുന്നു, you are putting that letter into an envelope. Now what you are doing, you are putting in an envelope means you are just separating your messages, right? Your envelope is there, you are having a piece of information, right? So you are separating those two. Now here the envelope is acting as the delimiter or the boundary. Now, after that, what you will do? You will be writing your sender address as well as your receiver address. Okay, so that is the concept of framing. So data link layer, your data units, they are packed into frames, and you can distinguish one frame from the another. Right, now how you are going to do it? You are just putting the sender address as well as the destination address. Now, destination address, as you know, what it defines is, it defines where the packet has to go, right? And the sender address helps the recipient acknowledge the receipt. Now, once it reaches the destination, you want to send the acknowledgement. And for that, sender address is also specified in that. Okay, so that is the concept of frame. Now, generally, you can have two types of framing. Very, very important. You can have two different types of framing. One is called it as the fixed size framing, and another one is called it as the variable size framing. കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ എല്ലാവരും? Are you listening?
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Yes, miss.
Right. So framing, you can have two types. One is fixed size framing, and another one is variable size framing. So fixed size എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് അതിനെ ബൗണ്ടറി ഒന്നും, you don't want to define any boundary there, right? So fixed size means the size is specified, so that is acting as the delimiter or the boundary. So when it is asked what are the different types of framing, you should be able to write it. The two types of framing are fixed size framing. So fixed size framing, you don't have any, there is no need of defining the boundaries of the frame. The size is itself is acting as the boundary, right? Now, the second category is called it as the variable size frame. Variable size framing means you should know where a frame ends and where is the starting of the next frame. So you want to distinguish. So you need a way to define the end of the frame and the beginning of the next. Right? Now, if you want to do that, you want to distinguish the starting of the frame as well as the ending of a frame, you can have two different approaches there. Now, one is called it as the character oriented approach, and another one is called it as the bit oriented approach. നിങ്ങളൊന്ന് റീകളക്ട് ചെയ്യണം, നമ്മളിതെല്ലാം ഓൾറെഡി പഠിച്ചതാണ്. Now you just remember, recollect what are the two types of approaches in variable size framing is. One is character oriented and another one is the bit oriented approach. So character oriented means നമുക്ക് this is the just a frame. So character oriented ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾ ആദ്യം എഴുതേണ്ടത് you have a frame for that. So this is just the frame for a character oriented protocol. You have a flag field, you have a header field, you have a trailer, you have the data also. Now what actually this data are nothing but they are 8-bit characters, right? And you have a header field also, you have a trailer field also. Now what that header carries the source and destination address, and if you have any control information, that is also present in the header part, right? So data, it is nothing but they are 8-bit characters. Header, they carry the source and destination address and some control information. Now you have the trailer part. Now what the trailer carries? They carries the error detection or the error correction redundant bits. You have some bits you will be making you for error detection or correction, and there it is, the trailer part contains that bits. Now, if you want to separate one frame from the next, you are making use of a field. That field is called it as the flag field. So you are adding the flag at 2 points, one at the beginning of the frame and another one at the ending of a frame, right? So this is just the frame of this character oriented protocol. Now, here you have an important concept called byte stuffing and bit stuffing, right? So now what is the importance of that? Usually the flag, നേരത്തെ കേസിൽ ലൈക്ക് ടെക്സ്റ്റ് മാത്രമാണ് ഡേറ്റ ലിങ്ക് ലെയറിൽ എക്സ്ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്തിരുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ whatever characters was used in the text, other than that they were used as the flag characters. ഓക്കെ, ടെക്സ്റ്റ് കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷൻ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് അല്ലാതെ മറ്റ് ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് ആണ് ഫ്ലാഗ് ഫീൽഡിൽ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിരുന്നത്. ബട്ട് when the type of information has been changed, അതായത് ഓഡിയോ വീഡിയോ ഗ്രാഫിക്സ് സച്ച് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് നമ്മൾ അയക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ ആ പാറ്റേണിന് ഒരു ചേഞ്ച് വന്നു. സോ you should be able to distinguish maybe the flag pattern, what are the characters that you were made used in the flag that can be the part of information. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ the receiver will be able to they will encounter some problem in identifying whether it is the starting or the ending of the frame. അപ്പോൾ അത് ഫിക്സ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി you are making use of a process called an approach called byte stuffing strategy. Right? Understanding. So flag could be selected to be any character not used for this text communication. But sometimes maybe whatever pattern you were made use of the flag, that can be the pattern for the information also. About other fix cheyan vendi, you are making use of a strategy called byte stuffing. Right. Now in byte stuffing, it is also called it as character stuffing. രണ്ടും കൂടെ കൺഫ്യൂസ് ആകാതെ ബൈറ്റ് സ്റ്റഫിങ്ങിനെ വേറൊരു പേരിൽ പറയുന്നുണ്ട് ക്യാരക്ടർ സ്റ്റഫിംഗ്. Now what you are doing is here you are adding a special byte to the data section. ഡേറ്റ സെക്ഷനിലോട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഒരു സ്പെഷ്യൽ ക്യാരക്ടർ അവിടെ ഒരു സ്പെഷ്യൽ ബൈറ്റ് അവിടെ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, ആൻഡ് സോ ദാറ്റ് ഡേറ്റ സെക്ഷൻ, ദാറ്റ് ക്യാരക്ടർ is called it as the escape character. Escape character-നകത്ത് already predefined bit pattern ആയിരിക്കും ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കുക. Okay, so what is mean byte stuffing strategy means here in byte stuffing or character stuffing, and a special byte is added to the data section of the frame when there is a character with the same pattern as the flag. ഫ്ലാഗിനോട് ചേർന്നിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പാറ്റേൺ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ you are making use of a special byte pattern that is called it as the escape character. Right? Now, whenever the receiver encounters an escape character, now what it does, it removes it from the data section and they will be treating it as the next character of the data. Right? So that is the thing that is happening there. Now, sometimes what happens if escape comes in the data? Escape in the characters then data ilum vannu kazhinjal, I mean, what happens? Now, what the receiver thinks? Receiver thinks maybe the next byte will be a flag field. So, in order to solve that problem, now you are inserting one more escape character, which are the part of the text. Okay, so they have to just distinguish between. So you want to, I mean, the receiver does not think that the next byte will be a flag field of this byte stuffing. അപ്പോൾ രണ്ട് തവണ എസ്കേപ്പ് ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് ഡേറ്റയിൽ തന്നെ എസ്കേപ്പ് ക്യാരക്ടർ വന്നാൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും, ഇല്ല എങ്കിൽ ഫ്ലാഗ് ഫീൽഡിനെ ഡിസ്റ്റിങ്വിഷ് ചെയ്യാൻ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്? ഈ രണ്ട് പ്രോസസ് ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഡൺ വിത്ത് ദ ഹെൽപ്പ് ഓഫ് എ സ്പെഷ്യൽ ബൈറ്റ് കോൾഡ് എസ്കേപ്പ് ക്യാരക്ടർ. Okay, so if escape character is a part of the text, one extra escape character is added to show that the second one is the part of the text itself. Right? So byte stuffing, in a short, I can tell that it is the process of adding one extra byte whenever you are having a flag or an escape character in the text. So that is the concept of byte stuffing. Very, very important. So it will be asked usually. What is the frame format and what is character-oriented protocol, or what is byte stuffing? Explained with the help of a frame format. All the things, every time it will be asked. So you should be write it clearly, right? I'll just dictate what you have to write for all this. Now, one more case is there that is called it as the bit-oriented protocol. Bit-oriented protocol എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്തായിരിക്കും? ഡേറ്റ സെക്ഷൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇവിടെ they are nothing but they are a sequence of bits. Okay, so അവിടെ ഒരു sequence of bits ആയതുകൊണ്ട് ഫ്ലാഗ് ഫീൽഡിൽ നമ്മളൊരു sequence of bits ആണ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. And flag field, ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, it is acting as the delimiter to define the beginning of the frame as well as the ending of the frame. Right? Now what happens if the flag pattern appears along with your data? How you have to inform your receiver that that is not the end of the frame. Now that is overcome by a process called bit stuffing. Bit stuffing in the Baraniganyal, you are stuffing a single bit to prevent the pattern from looking like a flag. ആ പ്രോസസ്സിനാണ് ബിറ്റ് സ്റ്റഫിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. അതായത് ഒരു സീറോയും 5 കോൺസിക്യൂട്ടീവ് വൺസും വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾ അവിടെ ഒരു എക്സ്ട്രാ സീറോ ആഡ് ചെയ്യുകയാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, റിസീവർ സൈഡിൽ എത്തുന്ന ഉടനെ ആ എക്സ്ട്രാ സീറോ റിസീവർ അങ്ങ് taking place. You are getting the data. ഫ്ലാഗ് ഫീൽഡ് ഉണ്ട്. ഫ്ലാഗ് ഫീൽഡ് നമ്മളൊരു ഫിക്സ്ഡ് പാറ്റേൺ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ആ അതേ പാറ്റേൺ തന്നെ ഡേറ്റാ സെക്ഷനിൽ വരുവാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ അതിനെ ഡിഫറൻഷിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. സോ വാട്ട് യു ആർ ഡൂയിങ് ഇസ് യു ആർ സ്റ്റഫിങ് എ സീറോ ബിറ്റ്. അതായത് എപ്പോഴാണ് സ്റ്റഫ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടതെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു സീറോയും 5 കോൺസിക്യൂട്ടീവ് വൺസും വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു ഷുഡ് സ്റ്റഫ് എ സീറോ along with that. Now at the receiver side, what you are doing is you are just doing the opposite process. You are unstuffing it at the receiver side. Okay, so framing in the case la ee rendu cases aanu ningal explain cheyendathu. One is the byte approach, byte oriented approach, and another one is the bit oriented approach. Right? Manasilayo? Understood what I told now?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Okay, all of you take down data link layer. All of you take your notebook and start writing. Data link layer. Second layer of the OSI model or the TCP/IP model. Second layer of the OSI or the TCP/IP model. It is responsible for moving frames from one hop to the next. It is responsible for moving frames from one hop to the next. The two main functions of data link layer. The two main functions of data link layer. എഴുതുന്നുണ്ടോ എല്ലാവരും? Yes or no? Vaishna, Rankit, Shruti?
Yes, miss.
Right now, the two main functions of data link layer are data link control and media access control. Data link control and medium access control. Narrow it down. Data link control deals with the design and procedure for communication between nodes. Deals with the design and procedure for communication between nodes. Now, medium access control is responsible for resolving access to the shared media. Resolving access to the shared media. Now write down. Data link control functions include framing, flow control, error control. Framing, flow control, and error control. Now, take few questions. Explain about byte stuffing with example. Explain about byte stuffing. നിങ്ങൾ ഹെഡിങ് ആയിട്ട് കൊടുക്കുക. ഫ്രെയിമിംഗ് heading കൊടുത്തിട്ട് ഈ ലിസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് എഴുതിക്കോ കേട്ടോ. Just give the heading it as framing and start writing these questions. About byte stuffing with example. ഇവിടെ വരുന്ന ഉടനെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും നോട്ട്ബുക്കിൽ ഇതൊക്കെ കാണണം, ഞാൻ നോക്കും. Right? Now the second question is, what are the different framing methods? What are the different framing methods? Compare and contrast. Compare and contrast. Bit stuffing and byte stuffing. Bit stuffing and byte stuffing with frame structures. That was asked for 8 marks. What are the different framing methods? Compare and contrast bit stuffing and byte stuffing with frame structures. Third question, explain how framing is done by data link layer. Explain how framing is done by data link layer. Yeah, these are the possible questions that can be asked from the topic framing. Right? Now write down. Framing discusses how to organize the bits. How to organize the bits that are carried by the physical layer. That are carried by the physical layer. Now write down. Framing in data link layer. Framing in data link layer separates a message from one source to a destination, or from other messages to other destination, or from other messages to other destinations by adding a center address and a destination address. By adding a center address and a destination address. Two types of framing are fixed size framing and variable size frame. Fixed size and variable size. Now write down, in fixed size framing, there is no need of defining the boundaries. There is no need for defining the boundaries of the frames. There is no need of defining the boundaries of frames. The size itself acts as the delimiter. The size itself acts as the delimiter. Right? Now write down variable size framing. Variable size framing. In variable size framing, there is a need of defining the end of the frame, defining the end of a frame and the beginning of the next. Right? Now, two approaches are character-oriented approach and bit-oriented approach. Character-oriented approach and bit-oriented approach. Heading എഴുതി വെക്കുക, character-oriented approach. Character oriented protocol. You just write down character oriented protocol. ഇവിടെ എന്താണെന്ന് എഴുതുന്നത് that I'll just discuss in the next hour. Amaya and few people of I think ആരൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു? Kavya. Who are the other persons? Kavya.
Vaishnav.
Afleyaano? Ajminayaano?
Ajvina.
അതിൽ നിങ്ങൾ ആരെങ്കിലും ഇനീഷ്യൽ പാർട്ട് ആരാ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അവരും കൂടെ റെഡി ആയിട്ടിരിക്കുക അടുത്തവർ കേട്ടോ. We will meet in the 5th hour. Okay, thank you. Go for the try.